That was cool. Thank you. And I'm really glad to be here. It's my first time being here. Actually, I'm going to start off with a little video. Hopefully, it will come through. So let's go ahead and see this. This is from.
Well, hello. Good day.
Oh, it does work. Well, I'll start it again.
Webster.
Anybody know who Carl Webster is? The Citrix CTP Elite Head, whatever the heck. That's like platinum level. Okay.
If you don't know,
what's it called? Fellow. There's like 3 of you in the world. 5.
Too many.
2. Perfect. And Tim is 1, and Benny's 1, and he's 1. All right. So look, these guys are the real deal. So Tim gets to go last today. He's the man. Just do whatever he says. But before that happens, here's a little video. Carl introduced me at a CUGC webinar recently, and I played a little goof on him, and I made this little video after it was over. Hopefully you guys can hear it just fine.
Well, hello. Good day, and thanks for attending. I'm Webster. At the website, carlwebster.com, the accidental Citrix admin. This Jeremy is just one smart guy. Not only is he a smart ass, but he's a very smart guy. There's very few pieces of software that really excite me and actually make me want to put a sticker on my laptop. PolicyPak is one of those pieces of software. You really owe it to yourself to pay attention to what Jeremy is going to show you and tell you about his software. The software is awesome. It will make your life as a Citrix admin or engineer or architect much easier. This is stuff you just got to try. This software has the Webster seal of approval. My longtime friend and group policy mentor, Jeremy Muslim.
Seriously,
take it on.
That was so worth it. Thank you.
That's all you need to do, you're done.
Yeah, right? What else is there, right? All right, so I'm going to try not to bore you to death too much with PowerPoint slides and so on, but you have to. That's how it starts. But most of this will be demo. I'll keep an eye on the clock and try to be mindful of our time and so on.
You record that. Yeah, good.
Well, I'll give it to you. It's good enough, right? All right, great. So I like to start off with a weird place with what PolicyPak isn't. We are not a handy ADM collection or replacement with what group policy is trying to do, or try to replace SCCM, Landesk, Ghost, and so on. Like, you already have tools that do that. We're sort of this thing in the middle that you don't have. Okay, we're also not trying to replace MDM, Intune, AirWatch, or MobileWire. Those things are amazing. So we're not trying to replace either group policy or SCCM or MDM. In fact, we add on to those things and make it more badass and more awesome. Okay, we're going to go into what these components are during the chat, so I'm not going to go into that right now. For me, I want you to tell me if you see this happening in your world. After a rollout, that's great. Day 1 is amazing, but day 2 sort of sucks. Right? On day 2, users just start unchecking checkboxes and working around your IT directives. They just uncheck checkboxes and go around the proxy or uncheck stuff that makes you more secure, keep getting asked for upgrades and so on, and trying to work around site list exceptions and things like that. Man, if only there was a way to dynamically set those things instead of putting it into your image, such that you can have what I like to call the settings of the moment. Right? So the thing that's on your mind today is the thing that goes out there today, as opposed to something you thought about 6 months ago, you implemented 3 months ago, and it's changed tomorrow. So long story short, the settings of the moment. I'll talk about that when we get there. All right? Getting out of the local admin right business. And a lot of companies are still in the local admin business. I just got a paper out this last week. It went to press a couple days ago about how a lot of companies of all shapes and sizes are still using what I call running with the scissors, local admin rights. And there's still a big opportunity to get out of that business. And even if you've gotten out of the local admin right business, okay, there's still problems, right? You've removed the local admin rights, but then they can't get into app ABC, right? Some app throws a UAC prompt in their face. Or I can't install my own printers or fonts. Or I still need to call the help desk, get iTunes repackaged for the sole purpose of the 2 people in the company that need iTunes to get that thing installed. Not a business you want to be in, and I'm going to show you how to overcome that today, all right? Stopping ransomware and preventing the bad guys. Nobody wants to explain to the boss how to buy Bitcoin. That is not a place you want to be in, right? So if you can do everything you can to stop the attacks, look, of course you've got firewalls and content filters and every damn thing, and that's amazing, but the last millimeter is the process that's executing, okay? And if you can prevent the process, the bad processes from executing, and only let the good stuff through, you're going to be in a way better position than the guy that's not doing that, all right? I read today that LabCorp, the guys that take your blood, their genetic testing lab, 50 computers were all wrapped up with ransomware. I read that in Wall Street Journal this morning. The right browser and the right Java for the right website. who has the situation where a particular website is the only one that will work for a particular freaking website? Yeah? So, got to use Internet Explorer for our internal stuff, Firefox for that app that was made as a deal on the golf course, or Google for all the googly things, Chrome for all the googly things. What I'm going to show you here is how to route the right user to the right browser at the right time. We call it browser router, so stay tuned for that. And also the same thing for Java. I'll do that at the same time. We'll also talk about Windows 10 file associations. Why do my freaking PDFs open in Edge? Because everybody thinks that's a great idea. Oh, you don't like that? We'll fix that in about 2 minutes. When I click on an email address, the not Outlook thing opens up, the Windows Goofy Mail, whatever you want to call that thing. And why do I have Acrobat? What if I have Acrobat Reader and Writer? How do you say, hey, if I've got Reader and Writer, then I want these PDFs to open here and I want these others to go here? How do you do that? I can talk about that. And Windows 10 Start menu. This is not, there is some configuration for this in the box. There's a group policy setting for this, and it works amazing if you want everyone to get exactly the same settings. You want to have a big block of Start menu that everybody gets? That's your thing. But if you want individual configuration based on sensing what's on the machine, when I have Firefox, put it here. When I don't, put it there. When I have Acrobat, put it here. When I don't, put it there, and so on. We can auto-sense the right opportunities at the right time and custom craft the Start menu just as you need to. It's pretty amazing. I'll show you that when I get there. Oh, and my favorite one is, why is Candy Crush on the Start menu? Is it okay to play games now? Probably not so much, right? All right. So the other thing we can do is we can take your real on-prem group policy settings and export them and deploy them using whatever you want. So if you've got Intune, AirWatch, MobileIron, if you've got SCCM or some other thing that hasn't come out yet, we can peel off existing group policy settings, wrap them up, and get them deployed using whatever you want, including your MDM utility that you own right now, to both domain joined and non-domain joined machines. It's a little extra thing we do. And we'll not talk about this today, but this idea of ensuring endpoint compliance, we can tell, did my settings actually make it there? And if they did, give you a full report about what made it there and what didn't, and sometimes why. All right, a bunch of stuff you don't need: no servers, infrastructure, databases, schema updates, specific domain mode, or specific Windows server. In fact, you have everything you already need. Anybody here have Windows 7 or later? You have Windows 7 or later? Oh, then you have everything. You're ready to rock right now, okay? For the Cloud and MDM edition, no live Active Directory, no live group policy, nothing to install on site, no SCCM, and so on. It's super easy to get going. You just install a little moving part on your endpoint, and then your directives that you create here go either through group policy, our cloud service, or your MDM service to get those directives deployed. It takes about 20 minutes to get all said and done. Couldn't be any easier. And by the way, I have some giveaways. I've got my group policy book over there and a couple of other pretty good giveaways. If you want one of those giveaways, send me an email, jeremym@policypak.com, and I'll pick one of you. And you got to email me like, I want a trial, and I will give you one of those free amazing things if that is interesting to you. We work with what you already have: real machines, desktops, laptops, Citrix, RDS, any VDI flavor. We do not care. Anything Windows. If it's Windows, man, we run with it. That's the basic gist, okay? We run with anything. Run with any kind of MDM, run with any kind of applications, including AppV, Citrix layering, and Unidesk, all that great stuff. If it's Windows, we run with it. That's our motto. So the point is that we don't rip and replace anything you already have. We only make you more badass with the infrastructure you've already invested in. That's a key point. We're only making you a force multiplier for your business. So again, the key things that I'll be showing here is, for instance, managing and locking down things like Java, browsers, and just about every freaking application. We have 500 pre-configured packs ready to rock to get your most common desktop applications configured. You want to lock down the proxy, you want to set the Java configuration, you want to manage just darn near everything. We will do that. And this is kind of where we got famous, is managing application settings. We're also doing a bang-up job with killing local admin rights and blocking unknownware. So when you've removed local admin rights, you're going to have to figure out how to get them out of the ditch. How do you explain to the computer, oh, it's okay to install printers, it's okay to install fonts, it's okay to install iTunes. We just make a couple rules, and then those problems are over. I'll go through that today. Open the right browser, open the right website with the right browser. Like I said, we're going to route you. When you go to, say, Microsoft.com, and you don't want that to open in Google, you want it to open in IE, no problem. I'll show you how to do that. Just create some routes. Okay, you can do it with patterns, you can do it with a particular website, and so on. Couldn't be easier. It takes about 10 minutes. The other piece that's super fun for me is managing the heck out of the start screen. I love watching this happen in real time, taking a totally bollocksed, awful Windows 10 start screen and kicking its butt and making it your own. It's super fun, and I'll show you that today. You can also do it for the taskbar as well, pinning and removing things from the taskbar. Couldn't be easier with Start Screen and Taskbar Manager. Tons of customers, we got them, lots and lots of them. Couldn't be, I can keep going, you don't care. There we go, got everything. All right, there we go. All right, that's it, demo time. So let's get right into it. I have like 1 square millimeter of space here, but I will do it. Well, you know, the conference is European focused. I have to say square millimeter. I can't say square inch here. That would be totally wrong. This is a trade zone. This is an EU trade zone right here. I respect that. All right. So what we'll do is we'll start off with I'll go in no particular order. I'll start off by managing an application we know and love, which might be like Firefox, for instance. So you go to Tools, Options in Firefox, and there's a lot of things here that may need to be managed. Now, some of you know that Firefox recently came out with like a very small battery of configurable items through their new policy engine. It's about 30. We do about 5,000. So, you know, just like anything else, they will increase over time, but as it sits right now, there's really no debate. If you really want to manage the crap out of Firefox, we're probably the best game in town. So what I'm going to do is show you how to deal with the home page. Maybe I'll go to security. And man, I don't want to remember login for sites. That's a terrible idea where somebody comes over my laptop and double clicks on a site and zips right in. That's not, I want to uncheck remember password for sites. I don't want to be in that business. And then for advanced, under update, I don't want Firefox to constantly try to ask for updates because I'm in charge of Firefox, right? Not my users. So why don't we start right there and try to manage those configuration items using either group policy or SCCM or MDM. We do not care. It can be done on Citrix as well. All these demos work the same exact way. So what I'll do for my East sales, for my sales computers here, we're going to do PPAN demo 1 Firefox here. So right click, click edit here. So this is just a garden variety group policy object. As you can see, we hook right into the group policy editor. There's policies, preferences, and now PolicyPak. We hook right in there. It's just a simple MSI, and it takes about 60 seconds to install, and you're ready to go. So we're going to start off here under Application Settings Manager. Right-click, New Application. You can see we've got a bunch of packs ready to rock here. I'm just going to go with Firefox 23 and later. Double-click this guy, and just do some base hits. So I'll go to www.nbc.com. Whoops, because they're right down the street, the TV station. And then I'll right-click over this. And you know what? I want to lock down this setting using the system-wide config file. I don't want everybody to be able to change this. These are my configuration items that I think are for the good of the company. The user shouldn't be able to work around it. I'm going to lock this puppy down, make sure users can't work around it. Then what I'll do is I'll go to security and uncheck remember password for sites. I don't want to be in that business anymore, so I'm going to right-click and lock that puppy down. Go over to advanced update, never check for updates, right-click and lock that sucker down as well. And hit OK, and we're good to go. So we've made an entry in group policy land. We'll go over to our endpoint, and we'll go run GP update and see it take effect. So this would happen the same natural way that regular group policy would be natural. On the computer side at a reboot time, or in the background with GP update, or a background refresh, or as you can see here with a manual GP update. Yeah, go ahead.
Those tabs in the tool, are they like the same tabs that you see in Firefox?
Let me hear your question again.
The tabs in the tool, are they the same?
Oh yeah, they're darn close. Yeah, we move it around every once in a while. But yes, the point is that it tries to represent as close as possible what's in Firefox. But Firefox moves the cheese every so often, but we don't necessarily keep it updated. Anywho, so there you go. You can see the home page is correct and go to Tools Options here. And let's see, there's the magic right there. You can see it's locked down. User can't work around it. If I go to Security, now I've unchecked Remember Password for Sites. And if I go to Advanced Update, you can see we're grayed out as well. And again, you could do this for just about every freaking application you have. Some are more well-behaved than others, but the packs will generally do what they're supposed to do. Yep.
How do you do that? Is this a feature of Firefox to be able to save it?
It depends on the application. So we've got two different methods. One, we've got a method for Firefox, a method for Java, and a method for well-behaved Win32 apps. If something isn't one of those three things, you can still deliver the settings, but you may not be able to lock it out.
And when they update, say, the new version, how do you catch up with that?
Well, Firefox is great because they let you skip ahead, so we can kind of keep track of that. And same thing with Java, you can kind of keep ahead of those things. And everything else, generally, if we missed something, just let us know. We'll make a pack for it as a catch-up update. But typically, something that worked yesterday, like WinZip 20, might work tomorrow with WinZip 21 with the same old pack that we have. Most things will continue to work. Some things, if they don't, we'll cheerfully make another pack for it. And we also give you this thing called the Design Studio to let you create your own packs for something that maybe we don't want to create, like Dog Food Maker 12, some custom app that you have and I never heard of. You're going to have to create it yourself using our Design Studio. Yes, sir?
Can you deploy browser extensions?
Yes, we can deploy browser extensions. In fact, we had a bank, without actually doing it, let me just kind of walk you through a scenario that somebody gave us, and then I have to move on because I have a lot of other demos. So if I were to, like, we had a bank call us up. They said, hey, we're in pain. We have all these extensions already deployed across our gigantic bank. Wouldn't it be amazing if there's a way to disable installing Firefox extensions, disable all the appearances and all the things that you could do, and then force install the 3 things that we want to do. We do that all in one stroke right on this page. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, and can that be done for Chrome also?
Yes, most of that can be done for Chrome. Okay? All right, I got to move on. Got to move on. All right, so let's continue down the road. In fact, the next thing I want to talk about is the right browser for the right, yeah, I got to get it right, the right browser for the right website. So for instance, let's say you were, actually I'll start off with Chrome this time. You're in Chrome, and let's say everything's going great in Google Land. So go ahead, you're having a good time. I'll just type hello here in Google Land. And then you decide you want to go to a website that you know doesn't look great in Chrome. And for instance, I've already preset this up to make it PolicyPak.com. Watch what happens when I click enter on the page. What we're going to do is close the tab, open the right browser, and if it's a particular Internet Explorer document mode you want it set to, we're going to do that on the fly. In fact, I can show you that with another site I've got set up, which is Microsoft. So I'll go over here, I'll type Microsoft.com. Don't blink. We're going to close the tab, open up Internet Explorer, and automatically set the IMEI document mode, just like that, on the fly. And if you're in this browser and you want to go, say, to mozilla.org, don't blink, close that browser, open up the right browser, and you're in the club. And lastly, if you're here, let's see, if I'm here and I want to go to google.com, we're going to close, and this is the only tab that's open, so we're going to close the browser out entirely and open up the right browser. Any browser to any other browser, including Edge PS. So what's that? You're rolling out Edge, and some of your users are tenuous about it, especially for the 16 websites they must use. No problem. Put them on the list, and then they can start getting used to Edge and have the other 16 go to the browser of your choice. Browser router. Couldn't be any easier, and setting up is, like I said, drop dead simple. I've already got it set up just because I didn't want to spend time on it. But let me show you what you do. Inside a garden variety GPO on the user or computer side, you just click on browser router and you set it up. You just right click, add a new policy, and you can say like, anything from a university or whatever from you. And then you can do like a wildcard, which would be star.edu. And you want that to always show up in Firefox, or you want to block a particular website or whatever. You can route any website from any browser, and you can also block. And for the Citrix geeks in the room, of which there are many, we have this special feature that I wasn't planning on talking about, but what the heck, called custom. Hold on, clear your minds for a second. I know it's late in the day and lunch is kicking in, but hold on, go with me for a second. Let's say you've got a particular website that only renders perfectly on Citrix over there. Okay, sometimes you brought up a Citrix server because you've got some specialty use case for it. What we can do is trap that pattern, and then with a custom browser, launch the Citrix receiver or MSTSC against that link, and then bam, you're running that browser over there, starting it from the link you started with over here. Thank you. Hey, I'm a geek. I built it for the geeks. That's how it rolls. All right.
What's in reverse?
Does it work in reverse? No. Well, you could actually. No, we can't do it in reverse. I see what you're driving at. No, there's no way to do that right now. All right, well, let's continue down the road and let's talk about everybody's favorite thing to hate. You know it. You love it. What's the most hated piece of software in all of IT? Close.
Java.
You got it.
Yeah.
Java. Everybody hates Java, right?
Yes.
So let's take it down to the 20-yard line here, right? So the deal is that I've got a bunch of versions of Java already configured on this machine. So if I go to Control Panel, uninstall Java, just to prove a point here, I actually have 3 versions. You have to help me remember this: 751, 820. Here, write this down: 751, 825, and 181, which is the latest version. When I ask Java what version do I have, what do you think it tells me when I say what version do I have?
I love from Java.
What, it tells you, not random, it tells you the latest one you installed. Okay, so hey, it's great, you've got the latest ones, but wait, we all have that freaking crappy website built in 2002 that requires a particular version of Java or catches fire and dies. If only there was a magical way to marry that website to a particular version of Java. Hey man, wait, then hold on, then a miracle occurs. What you can get, on the one hand, is the latest version for security, for every website you never heard of before. And then you can have the old versions of Java and marry them to a particular website for compatibility. You with me so far? Let's do it. So what I'm going to do is go over, I'll do this all in real time, and I'll go over here to my sales team, and I'll do PPJRM demo 1. Again, this is, oops, I already have that set. This is all included. We don't sell it piecemeal. You just get everything I'm showing you all included here. So dive down under, whoops, computer side, PolicyPak, Java Rules Manager, right-click, add a new policy. Actually, wouldn't it be amazing if you could say, I want to block all Java because I freaking hate it and it's insecure, but for the 3 websites I need, I'm going to marry and map. You could do that. You could create what's called a new default policy and block all versions of Java that are not sanctioned, just like that if you wanted to do that. I'm not going to do that. Good. So I'll add a new policy here, and I'll call this rule 1. The name doesn't matter. This is where it counts. And HTTPS www.java.com/ and I want to run. I want to make sure I have the right version. And what we're going to do is pick one of those versions. Which one would you like, 751 or 825? 825, okay, 825. 825, right? Let's make sure, because it's got to match or else it's not secure. 825, okay. All right, that's java.com. And the other one is no www, so we'll call this Java Tester. And that's a different website. And this is HTTPS javatester.org. And this one we're going to run 7. But you know what? Maybe you don't know what version of 7 you have on the machine. That's not a problem. You can actually say, I want to run latest in family, and we'll catch whatever the latest version you have is. But if you want to make it the most secure because your devs tell you so, that's fine too. We're going to go ahead and say exactly 7. What did I say it was? 751? 751. Got to get it exactly right. 751. All right, there we go. Bang. And that's it. All right, let's go over to our endpoint here. We'll run GP update. Give us a minute to finish up. And we're not doing some kind of trickery or tomfoolery. I'll get to you in just 2 seconds. This is actually built in under the hood of Java. There's a mechanism that's built into Java that will do this. That's why Java is weird and lets you configure multiple, lets you do multiple installs. That's the whole point of it. Let me finish this up and I'll answer your question real fast. So let's go ahead and go back to Internet Explorer here. And now let's go to java.com first. Do I have Java? Before, it claimed that I had the latest version. And now, what does it claim? Does a little math on it, and it comes up with, boom. It says your version is 825. It has no idea that I also have the newest version on there. And if I go to another website that I said, javatester.org, boom, what are we going to get here? This actually shows up a little bit differently, and we get 751, just like that. Yes, my friend.
Are you able to redirect the Java cache to the user home folder?
Nope, we're not in the redirection business. So maybe my friends at FS Logics can do that, but I'm not sure if that's just naturally. Yep. So they'll certainly tell you about that. All right, so great. Any other Java rules managing questions? All right, so that was that. All right, next up on the docket is managing the heck out of the my users are still local admins problem, okay? So I'm not gonna ask for hands or say who here still has local admins. A lot of us probably still do for a variety of reasons. Now is the final death nail to get that, to finish that up. But it's a problem, right? You try to double click on an application, what happens? It throws a UAC prompt, and that's a bit problematic. Or you go to Device Manager, and what happens? You get a message that says, hey, you're a standard user, you can look, but you can't touch. Or you try to install a piece of software like Skype Setup, and it only lets you get so far, next, 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 and then install, and you get prompted again. So these are 3 very, very common problems that happen when you remove local admin rights. Users can't do their stuff anymore. That's the problem. We want to grant them the access they need to keep working as if they were local admins, but not having them run with the scissors all the time. We're going to elevate the processes and the circumstances they need, but not have them run with the scissors. So in order to do that, I'll go to eSales users here, and I'll do LPM demo. I'll do all these all in one shot, all in one GPO. Nice and simple. We'll do this user side, PolicyPak. This is called least privilege manager. So we're taking a guy who's a standard user and elevating him. So we'll create a new executable policy first, and I'll use what's called a simple rule. I'm going to pick a hash. So the hash is a digital fingerprint of a file, and I've got that same file here on my machine, like process monitor here. And this could be QuickBooks, this could be auto runs, this could be any number of things. We're going to run it with elevated privileges, and then I'm going to give it a name. So let procmon run, and go ahead and hit finish. And then I'll go ahead and add a new control panel applet policy, and maybe this one will be device manager. There we go, device manager, bing, bing, bing. And then run that with elevated privileges. So let VM run. And then lastly, what I want to do, actually let's think about this for a second. I want to do a Windows installer policy for Skype, but if I just give it by name and I call it Skype install.msi, and then the bad guys put Skype install MSI on my desktop, then I'm running that with admin rights. Does that make sense? I don't want to do that. That's not a good idea. So I have a better idea. What I'll do is this thing called a combo rule, and I'll use multiple factors for security. So I'll do it by name and also who signed it. So it'll be called Skype Setup, comma, and signed by the Skype guys. Does that make sense? 2 things, or you could do up to 4 things if you want. So I'll go ahead and say, fine. Let me go ahead and add a file here, and I'll browse for Skype Setup that I happen to have on this machine. And then I'll click Next, and I'll say, hey, I want only when it's signed by the Skype guys. That's the catch. That's the magic right there. So go ahead and click Next. I want to run that puppy with elevated privileges. So let Skype install, and that's it. 3 things, 1 GPO, ready to rock. The guy that was running with local admin rights yesterday doesn't have to worry about that anymore. Now he's elevated. Yes, my friend.
But when you run the process with elevated privileges, which user does it run? And the second question, is this based on AppLocker?
No AppLocker. In fact, we have an AppLocker replacement built in called Secure Run, which I can talk about if we have enough time at the end. So you can do what's called a custom token, but by default it'll take the admin account and chuck it in there, or system, depending on the scenario.
So you modify the access token of the currently logged in user?
Yes, that's exactly right. You couldn't have said it any better. So here's Procmon. We'll double-click Procmon, and boom, ready to go. We'll right-click and go to Device Manager. Boom, no more warning. Now we can do things like upgrade device drivers and all sorts of things that we need to do here. And if we wanted to do Skype setup this time, where it didn't work yesterday, bang, 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 and we're good to go. Yeah, my friend.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Webster was right.
What?
This is Webster was right. Running with scissors is a great phrase. Well, my question is, the reason that so many of our clients still have admin rights is because of some weird complex suite of apps that they can only make work when it's admin.
Yeah.
So we can just go through and...
That's it. We do it with all sorts of customers, and it doesn't take long. Here's the last step of how to do it. You get one big-ass box with every freaking application on it, and you remove admin rights, and have each person start banging on it. And our logs will reveal what we tried to run when the UAC prompt occurred. And you're like, oh, that's the rule. And then you go back and, oh, that one's over. And then you do the next one. It's not automatic, but it doesn't take long. Yeah, it's a process, and it doesn't take very long.
Is your stuff always watching? Some of the particular logs?
Yeah, we're always watching. Yep. Okay. Well, while we're here, I mean, we might as well talk about it. One of my things that I think somebody asked me about AppLocker and getting out of the local admin rights business is this big problem of ransomware. So how do we get out of the ransomware business? And what I mean by that is, like, a standard user can just download, double-click on a ransomware thing, and then that's it. Because Windows was made to try to run crap. Does that make sense? It's an operating system to launch crap. Okay, it's not a security container. It's an operating system. So we need to make it more secure. And look, you can do AppLocker, which I'm a fan of AppLocker. If you've already used it, it's great. But getting it set up is a huge pain in the neck. And then you have to be in the business of every time you make a change to deploy something using your tool, you're in the AppLocker training business, which I'm not a big fan of. So instead, what I want you to do is I want you to think about all the things that are over here as things that you deployed either using your image or SCCM or built into Citrix or whatever kind of apps they are. This is you. You're running these applications, okay? This is you on the left. Here in this big swash of the universe, this is stuff that a user might try to run, like Notepad P. You don't know what this is. or you try to run, this thing will nice and go away, yep. Windows are so amazing. All right, or try to run some kind of application, you don't know what it is, or ransomware, or a script. Wouldn't it be amazing if you could easily separate the white blood cells from the red blood cells? Okay, how to figure out stuff that's admin deployed versus user downloaded. How would you do that? Okay, well, we're going to do it in 2 clicks, and then I'll explain how it works second. Is that fair? Can I just show you it? Okay, so this thing is called Secure Run. It's 1 click, and I'll come back and explain how it works in a second. So I'll go back over here, and then I'll run GP update here. Okay, so yep, my parents just signed on to their machine. That's very important because they live on the Upper East Side, and if they have a problem, they're going to call me, and I can team view arrange them. All right, so that's it. 1 click, GP update, and we're ready to go. Who else is the tech support for their whole freaking family? And you want to kill yourself whenever you get that phone call? Yeah, all right, so I made the 1 click. Let's prove a point here. I double click on Acrobat, right? This is the stuff you deployed, and it keeps running. Okay, that's all well and good. But then you click on something that your user has downloaded themselves, like Notepad P. What's the story? Hey, it's been blocked. Or if I go to Ransomware Simulator, look, hey, that's been blocked. Or if I go to any script that some user downloads off the internet, like PowerShell, and try to run with PowerShell, hey, that's blocked. What, do we have a magical cloud service that's constantly scanning for bad guys? No, there's a much easier way to separate the white blood cells from the red blood cells. And you guys are geeky, so I can explain it pretty easily. If you look at the security of any given application, there's the file ownership attribute. So here on the left are things that you installed as admin, SCCM, Landesk, whatever. And over here is stuff that the user downloaded off the internet, crapware, right? And when they do that, what happens? If you go, look who's the owner. Oh, they are. Oh, wait, let's go back to the Secure Run list. Hold on a second, let's take a look. Back in Secure Run land, we've got, nope, they're not on the list, so I guess it doesn't run. Does that make sense? Yeah. That's it. If they're not on the list, it doesn't run. That's it. So, yeah, basically. So the gist is like you could have a student, teacher scenario, or that kind of thing, and it's easy enough to do. But I'm going to have to kill it in order to keep going here. But that's the general gist. So if you don't have AppLocker, or you have AppLocker but you're not fond of it, this is a 1-click solution to do a lot of what AppLocker does and make it 1-click stupid to make it easy. Okay? Questions? All right, keep on. Go ahead.
Okay, let's say I have to use this tape.
I can't hear you, my friend.
I have to use this tape in my computer for my
USB stick. USB stick is, yeah, so we learned that it's external or fat, and then we since it doesn't have an ownership. If somebody's super neurotic and they figure out some magical way to work around, it actually doesn't matter. They can't even do that. So they copy the file, and it's not happening anymore. So that's really,
the new solutions that come with that, because they're pretty much equal to that.
yeah, if you put a fat file in there, it has no ownership, so you're good to go. So it blocks things that there's no ownership for. Is that fair?
So in other words, if it's fat, we're blocking.
Fat, you block the fat. Well, wait, we're a diet routine as well. We're just blocking the fat. There we go. All right, let's continue down the road here. Everybody loves it when you double click on a PDF and what opens. I'm sorry, what happens when you open a PDF? I say, friends, you love it when what opens? No, you hate it when Edge opens, right? Would it be better, is that a thing, more better, when Acrobat Reader opens, or you double click on your video thing and the right video player should open? I found this little video on the net, I don't know what it is, it's cute. Or you double click on Mail To, and what opens? I call this Windows Goofy Mail, right? Goofy Mail opens. You don't want that, you want Outlook to open. So what we'll do is we'll create our directive. Again, everything I'm doing, everything is your settings of the moment. You change your mind, it's not a big deal. You don't have to go back and re-image your machines or figure it all out over again. It doesn't have to be that way. You just figure out your settings of the moment. So I'll go ahead, I'll right click here, and I'll call this PPFAM File Associations Manager Demo here. Again, I'm doing this in multiple GPOs. You can do it in one GPO if you wanted to, it doesn't really matter. And then I'll dive down under Computer Side, PolicyPak, File Associations Manager, and right-click, Add New Policy. Who's ever done this before with the inbox group policy settings that you've had to deal with? Anybody have to do this? You have to, let's go through the motion. You have to create the perfect machine of all time. Export it with the DISM command, trim it to an end of its life, and then use group policy to point to it, where then everybody gets exactly the same settings. Has anybody ever tried to do that yet? That's great, but it works that one time, and then you want to change your mind. You got to do that whole process all over again. So what I'll do is I'll call this PDF rule or something like that, and maybe the file type is PDF. And I'll select a program on my machine, which will be Acrobat Reader, and you are done. You've solved that problem. That's it. Actually, the problem isn't really solved yet because Acrobat has more than one file type. Right, so let's delete that rule, and let's do something else. We'll right-click, add what's called a new product wizard, and we'll do simple, we'll pick Acrobat Reader here, and we'll just scoop up all the file types in one shot. And then we'll click next. I'll make a little basket for you, and now you've really done it. Does that make sense? Just like that. How about for VLC Media Player? How many file formats is that? A zillion. That's a technical term. So we'll go ahead, simple. We'll do VLC here because I happen to have it on this machine. Boom, boom. Check all those. It's a lot. Next, 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 and you're done with that one. Let's see how many there were. A lot, 154. And then the last thing we'll do is a mail to, add new policy. We'll call this mail to. And this is mail, that's network protocol. You can do FTP, network protocol. For websites, you're going to use browser router. You're not going to use this, you use browser router for that. And then we'll select the program here. And I don't have Outlook, I've got this thing called Clause Mail because I don't want to register Outlook. And that's it, we're done. We'll go back over here, run GP update. Now this one doesn't take effect until you log off and log back on. And that's just the physics that we got from Microsoft. We can't change the physics here, that's the deal. So after we run GP update, I'm going to verify I got the GPO with GP result /R, then I'll log off, log on, and then you'll see that it takes effect immediately. So we'll run GP result /R, just make sure we got that puppy first. Okay, on computer side, FAN demo, there we go. We'll go ahead and log off, sign out here, and sign back on. Just watch that middle upper section of the screen, hands off the keyboard.
Jeremy, you have to present in Europe. This is bloody amazing.
Thank you. I really appreciate you saying so. Can I get a quote? Like,
And I'm a fellow too, not like Carl. I'm like fellow.
Yeah, because you're a double fellow. Yeah, there you go. And there you go. It's done, dusted, and ready to go. That font doesn't exist, but you get the gist. The thing opened up perfectly. Go ahead and double click on here, and your VLC Media Player will run. There we go. There's VLC Media Player running. And then your mail to that worked earlier, that was opening Goofy Mail. Now it opens up the mailer of your choice. You change your mind. You don't have to go back to the videotape and figure it all out for round one. You just change your mind, wait for people to GP update, log off, log on. It takes effect. Oh, what's that? You've got Acrobat Reader and Writer on the machine. No problem. We can handle that situation. We can detect Reader, we can detect Writer, and write the right attributes at the right time. It takes no time whatsoever. Have a cool video on that. All right, I got one or two more things before we say goodbye here. This is one of my favorite ones, which is managing the crap out of the start menu. Okay, so this is the default start menu that Windows will give you. I don't know if you like all these things. I do not like all these things. There's lots of different advice on what to do with regards to the start menu. Some people say, go forth and uninstall stuff out of the operating system. The jury is still out on that. Windows has been out more than 2 years. It's not clear to me if you can install some things and then successfully go to an upgrade. So my advice is basically, and again, I'm certainly not above taking advice. If anybody has better advice than what I'm about to say, I'm certainly willing to hear it. But the advice that I have tended to give at this point is, because we can't be certain if you remove something from the operating system, if it's going to blow an in-place upgrade up, just craft the start menu for your user's experience, and don't worry so much about having all the stuff here in the big list. Just clean up this list. Fine, so let's go ahead and do that. Again, I'm not above taking advice if there's better advice than that. So what we'll do is we'll do this on the user side as well. I'll do PP Start Screen and Taskbar Manager here, and I'll right-click and click Edit on this guy. And we've got two methods. Let me go ahead and get over there. So user side, PolicyPak. So this is Start Screen and Taskbar Manager here. Right-click, add a new collection. And we've got two ways to do this. We can either nuke everything add our own groups, and the groups we add can't be worked around by the user. That's choice number 1. Choice number 2 is leave whatever the user has already done, or whatever Microsoft has in place. Then put our groups, and the things that we put in there, users can't work around. So nuke or add. I'm going to go with add, doesn't matter. So I'm going to go with add. That's called partial preserve. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and craft the actual experience. I'm going to create what's called a new group. This is the name that you would give it. Maybe I'll call this super apps or something like that. Okay. And then in here, inside super apps, I'm going to add a couple things. I'll start off by adding a desktop tile as a registered application, like things that are actually installed in your machine, like Acrobat Reader. So make this the size and the location. I'll call this Acro1. All right, then I'll add a new, say, Windows Universal apps. You know, the kind of apps that nobody really uses ever, those things, like Calculator. Or did I say that? I didn't say that. And then I'll make this big calculator or something like that. Call this big calc. And then I'll add maybe I can actually add another desktop application tile. Actually, for Tim, because he's Mr. App V, in case you want to point to an App V app, that would be a custom app because it's not really installed on the box. Does that make sense? So you can have that if that's what you want. Well, I'll do another registered app like maybe Chrome or something like that, just to prove a point. All right, Chrome. All right, and then I'll make that a medium tile as well. All right, so Chrome. All right, and now, this is kind of my favorite part. We're going to watch this happen in real time. So I'll go ahead and open up Command Prompt here as a standard user. All right, and then I'll click on Start here and watch this happen in real time. Boom. Puts the apps right there for you. And if you had 9 different apps and you didn't like the configuration order of that, we have a little routine where you can right-click over here and do what's called quick space optimization. And depending if you have a lot of apps, we can give you what it's going to look like, we think, on the endpoint as sort of a prediction. But just like that, you're configuring the crap out of your Windows 10 start screen. So, and then last but not least, you can manage the Windows 10 start taskbar as well. So if I wanted to, in the same GPO or a different GPO, right-click, add a new collection here, and just go ahead and add like 2 icons or something, add like a universal app, like Calculator, why not? Doesn't matter what it's called. And then add a new desktop app for, say, Acrobat Reader. No longer do you have to field that call of like, how do I deal with this? How do I manage the taskbar? Taskbar is another one of those things, the physics, that only works when you log off and log back on. So I'm getting the last GP update. I'll log off, I'll log back on, and then that will be it. There's obviously more to show, but I'm sure I'm way over time. So let me just finish up with this guy here. Sign out, sign back on. And there we go. There's Calc, and there's Acrobat Reader, and that's it. So like I said, if you want a trial, or if you want to win one of the, I have a book, 2 nifty ceramic absorbent coasters, and a PolicyPak mug. If you would like to win one, you need to email me. My email is jeremym, jeremym@policypak.com, and I'm leaving in a half hour. So yes, let's go ahead.
Just real quick, you said about for custom apps that you don't have the preset settings for.
Yeah.
How do you deal with them?
Sure. So a custom app is something for, like, let's say Notepad++ portable, right? Something that's sitting on the machine. So you just add what's called a new desktop app tile, custom app, and you actually have to point to it. So let's pretend it's not, the c:\temp abc.exe was on the machine. We're just pointing to it and hoping for the best. Does that make sense? And if it's there, we'll show you the icon. If it's not, well, we can't then. Okay?
So besides the icon, like the settings for the app, how do you?
What kind of settings are you looking for?
Well, the same settings you had in Firefox or whatever. Can you?
Oh, you mean manage the actual settings of the application? Yes. So like I said, if you want to, with the application settings manager part of it, you can make your own packs. If there's not a pack that we already have, which we probably do, So basically, this is just for the start menu, and then you're welcome to configure the application using Application Settings Manager. That's exactly how to do it.
Does that work? You know, like does that work? Like you run it, and then you install the app, and then it will cache the settings, and then you create like a password. Does that work like that, or?
Why don't you see me after the break, and I'll kind of walk you through basically. So creating a pack is not hard. It's the same ballpark of how to create an MSI. It's not hard, you know. And then once you have the pack and you have your application, you've now decoupled the settings from the application. You don't have to bake them in your freaking image anymore. You go naked, and then you deploy the application settings using policy or MDM, and you're good to go.
Yeah, one more question. How would you advise using your tool with the optimizers that we use for operating systems, like VMware optimizers?
Yeah. So the question is, how do we deal with optimizers like VMware and those kinds of optimizers? They're interdependent. You would run those first, and then we, as a group policy extension, just hook into the operating system. Like you just install us as in your VDI or using SCCM or on your Citrix box, we just become part of the operating system. As you saw, when you log on, you run GPO update, we are group policy as if Microsoft had shipped it themselves. We're just doing more stuff that they didn't get to, that's all. All right, let me answer some more questions. And if you want to see me, I'm right over back there. I also have some slicks and some giveaways next to my friend, wave my friend back there where I was sitting. Yep, back there, yep. You too, the woman, yes, hi. Yeah, my friend right there, that's where she is. My friend has some slicks. She works for another company, but I just call her my friend. Great. You got a question in the back?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is it possible to delegate the administration of this to people that aren't, that aren't group policy administrators?
So yes, so the question is, can you delegate the administration of this to somebody who's not a group policy admin? Absolutely. What you do is you install the MMC snap-in on Joe Helpdesk's box. You teach that person to run local group policy. Then what you do is you take anything we've done so far, 100% of what we've done so far, right-click, export as XML, and you're going to import it as XML. They design, you implement. Is that your question?
Great.
Yes?
Right. Does your engine run in the user space, like a multi-user system? Is there one running for each user? Or is it
in Citrix land, there's an instance for each user.
Okay.
Yes. And on 64-bit, there's an instance for 32 and 64. There's a lot going on.
Well,
We ran out of time.
Yeah.
Thank you guys very much for being so generous. Thank you.